Some nail technicians use the internet to teach their bad habits to new nail technicians who don't know any better. Some teach and encourage nail technicians to work outside the scope of their jobs. Now, what do I mean by that? Nail professionals should not diagnose medical conditions. Yet some incorrectly teach others to diagnose and identify an infection by the nail plate's color or appearance. This is extremely difficult to do, even for trained medical professionals, which is why a wise doctor will send a sample of the infection to a laboratory for identification. Many nail professionals don't stop there. They attempt to tell the client how to get rid of the infection without realizing they're actually prescribing treatment for a medical condition. That's clearly outside the scope of a nail technician's work and against the federal law of most countries who require a medical license to treat medical conditions like a nail infection. Only qualified medical doctors should diagnose, identify, or provide any kind of treatment for infections or any other medical condition of the nails. Telling clients they have an infection and then directing them to soak in vinegar is an example of an improper diagnosis and treatment of a medical condition. The same is true when nail technicians give clients an antibacterial oil to treat the infection. All of this is outside the scope of a nail professional's work and could delay a client from seeking a correct diagnosis and proper treatment by a trained medical professional. Nail technicians should never diagnose, treat, or prescribe a treatment or prescribe any treatment for any type of medical condition, as I said before, nor should they intentionally perform any unsafe medical procedures. Now, what do I mean by that? I'll give you an example of an unsafe medical procedure. Some nail professionals attempt to apply artificial nail coatings to finger or toenails that are missing all or part of the nail plate. All artificial nail coatings should be kept off the skin, and none are safe for nail technicians to use to replace missing nail plates. To do so requires the nail professional to intentionally expose the sensitive living tissue of the nail bed to the artificial nail coating that are only designed for safe application to the nail plate. Creating a prosthetic nail is a medical procedure that requires highly specialized training and caution, yet some are teaching and practicing these improper procedures in their salons. All nail manufacturers should be instructing nail professionals to always avoid contact with skin due to the potential for adverse skin reactions. Now, I know of no exceptions to this rule, even though some companies are improperly and incorrectly claiming their products can be used for these applications. As I've talked about in many episodes, one important way to avoid developing a permanent allergy to a nail coating product is to never touch them to the skin until they're properly cured. Applying artificial nail products designed for the nail plate to the living skin of the nail bed is a form of product misuse that can lead to permanent allergic reactions and which can worsen with each additional exposure. Now here's a very real problem that concerns me greatly. Even when this type of correct information is discussed on the internet, it's been my observation that nail technicians with the correct information are often shouted down by those who are incorrect and refuse to let go of their misguided beliefs. The internet has become a place for misinformed nail technicians to argue over who's right when both sides are often wrong. This is probably why so many nail technicians are so easily confused or fooled by deceptive marketing. A nail professional with fact-based knowledge about the nail is more difficult to deceive or mislead. That's why it's said that information is power. That's what this video series is for. That's why I do these videos. To give nail professionals power over the nail, power over their products, and mostly power over the health and safety for themselves and their clients. Now, there are a few who don't want nail technicians to become too well informed. Why? Well, an educated nail professional is harder to fool. Of course, most manufacturers are honest and try to do a good job. I'm not talking about them. I give those companies special kudos if they're making a strong effort to be responsible and fairly market their products and to educate the proper use of their products as well. But there will be those who don't play by the rules, and their business model seems to be aimed at taking advantage of others who don't understand the facts. For instance, some UV lamp manufacturers and distributors would find it much more difficult to fool nail technicians into buying the incorrect UV lamp if most nail professionals understood that using an incorrect lamp not only increases the chance of service breakdown, this can cause nail technicians to develop permanent allergies to their favorite nail coating products. Using the wrong nail lamp is a leading cause of adverse skin reactions for nail technicians who use UV gels. And this can lead to damage to the client's nails, as I've discussed many times in this video series. No manufacturer of any generic type of nail lamp can accurately claim that their nail lamps properly cure any UV gels. That's not possible. They can't know since they haven't tested all UV gels. And besides, it's both chemically and physically impossible for one nail lamp to cure all UV gels for the many reasons I've explained in the many episodes where I've talked about this. This is called cherry picking. Now, if you've not heard that term before, some think of cherry picking as picking out their favorite products and using them in combination with their other favorite brands of products. But essentially, cherry picking boils down to using together different products that were made by different manufacturers and not designed or intended to be used together. This is a form of product misuse as well that can lead to service breakdown, adverse skin reactions, and nail damage and even nail infections. It's also a problem when manufacturers develop a product that requires nail technicians to misuse other brands of products. For example, if a company developed a nail polish and instructed users to mix it with any brand of UV gel, well, I don't think that's right or safe to do. This leads to incorrect curing and increases the risk of adverse skin reactions. And by doing so, this manufacturer is encouraging the misuse of other companies' brands of UV gels. Cherry picking just encourages nail professionals to take it upon themselves to change the manufacturer's instructions and to use the products their way, which many times leads to problems in the salons. Some sell polymer powder that's to be used with any other manufacturer's monomer liquid. What? That's risky business in my view, and wrong, because this can be unsafe for those who must use these powders on a regular basis. Most powders are a blend of methyl and ethyl methacrylate polymers, but that does not mean they're the same. There are many important differences between the various brands of powders. Even though some try to trick the nail professionals into thinking that a nail powder is a nail powder and they're all the same. That's false information. And different brands of nail powders are not interchangeable. I could make 100 different blends of powders just by mixing the ingredients in different ways and at different ratios. Each blend would cure differently and produce nails of very different quality, strength, and durability. Improperly cured monomer liquid is much more prone to cause allergic reactions, and it does so for many nail professionals. That's why it's a big mistake to use an incorrect powder with the monomer liquid of your choice. And that's why it's not right for anyone to attempt to sell a generic or a universal powder when clearly there is no such thing. It would be impossible to design a powder that worked properly with any monomer liquid formulation. The liquid and powder are a match set, and they must be used together to ensure a proper cure. And they must be used at the correct ratio of liquid to powder, a ratio that creates a medium dry bead. Now, I talk about this problem in episode 3. It's called Breaking Systems, where I explain the risk to nail professionals when they mismatch products that were not specifically designed to work together. The vast majority of the problem in the nail industry occurs because so many nail technicians are not taught how to use nail products and instead are taught incorrect and damaging techniques, usually designed to save time, not to better serve the client or to protect the health of their nails. Some of these damaging but time-saving techniques come from nail veterans who think they've come up with a better way to use the products, and they encourage others to misuse the products as well, often without understanding the problems this can cause. Unless a person has a pretty deep understanding about the chemistry of nail products, as well as a deep understanding of the nail, it's risky to disregard manufacturers' instructions and warnings. Making up your own blends and instructions, etc., can significantly increase the risk for skin allergies, infections, or nail damage. I think it would be helpful if all nail manufacturers played a greater role teaching not only the safe use of their brands and product lines, but also to promote a greater awareness and understanding about the safe use and practices related to general use of nail products in salons or in mobile businesses. Ensuring the safety of the client and the nail technician through education is important to the future of the nail industry. Some manufacturers do a great job, while others do not. Some continue to propagate misinformation from the past. Many are only private labelers who have little technical understanding of the products they sell. They teach what little they know and often propagate misinformation and damaging techniques. Some promote overfiling the nail plate or improper removal techniques that damage the surface of the nail plate. Many newcomer companies are jumping on the bandwagon to sell Me Too products, but these newbies aren't knowledgeable enough to educate the proper use of the products they sell. That's why I recommend to stick with the major brand name products and don't cherry pick. Pick a system or two that you like and learn them well and then stick with them. Avoid mixing and matching products. It may seem like fun, but many times it's just trouble waiting to happen. And when something goes wrong, you gotta blame yourself, not the products that were used incorrectly. Now, all of this information should be taught in nail courses. But many instructors are not focused on keeping up with new information, and they're not focused on safe and correct use. Instead, too many are teaching their misinformed opinions or teaching their own bad habits to their students. For instance, a common problem that's being taught are techniques that overfile the natural nail, using way too much downward pressure or too low of a grit of a nail file. A 180 grit file can very quickly do a lot of damage to the natural nail when it's used too aggressively or when it's held at an incorrect angle. An electric file can do even more damage in the hands of someone without proper training. Times and products have changed. Nail products have better adhesion than ever before, but too many continue to overfile the nail plate. Overfiling just thins and weakens the nail plate and can make it more difficult to remove the nail coating without damaging the natural nail. Another major problem is that some veterans of the nail industry are teaching classes that fool people into thinking they have enough skill and information to do nails after only a few days or a week of training. Excuse me, but there is no way anyone can learn enough to safely and properly perform these services with just a few days or even a week of training. Those irresponsible trainers are creating a huge problem for the nail industry, since many of these students go on to damage their clients' nails or cause allergies because they lack proper information and training. Now, the final issue I'd like to discuss before closing this two-part series is this. Too many salons are not properly ventilating, and there is too little focus on safety. The nail industry in general is in denial about the use of ventilation and gloves. That's sad. These are important safety tools that every salon needs, no exceptions. Salons and even mobile technicians need to invest in the proper ventilation that's both appropriate for the work being performed and will ensure that they have fresh breathing air in their salon. Also, nail professionals should be using disposable nitrile gloves to avoid skin contact. Now, I've talked in greater detail about the need for proper ventilation in episode 4 and episode 33, so please take a look at those. And I just completed episode 49, which focuses on the use and selection of the correct glove for the salon. Now, if after watching these 2 episodes of this 2-part series, you're sitting there saying, well, I don't do any of these things, well, then I'm not talking to you. Still, these issues are very real problems for most, and for the nail industry to grow and prosper, these problems must be solved, addressed, and resolved. Everyone must play a role, not just nail technicians. Those who call themselves manufacturers need to become more informed and aware of the many issues and need to seek solutions, not compound the problems. Rather than turn a blind eye toward these problems and accept them as one small manufacturer recently said to me, hey, it is what it is, just accept it. No, we should not accept this as just the way it is. We should collectively work together to change the industry for a better. Please, if you care about the future of the nail industry, get involved and do your part to correct these issues. You'll be helping the entire nail industry if you do. And remember, a rising tide raises all ships.